Welcome to the University of Dundee Master of Education webinar. My name is Helen Sporopoulos and I'm the Admissions Manager at Stanford Global. And joining me this evening all the way from the UK is Dr. Marie in very interesting circumstances that we found ourselves this evening. Good evening to you, Dr. Marie.
Good evening to you, Helen, and to everybody online tonight. It's great to have you here with us, as Helen said, under these circumstances as well.
Okay, and I'm looking on my right-hand side here. I can see there are quite a few of you that have joined us for this webinar this evening. I hope you're all well and safe, and thank you for joining us. How we are going to conduct this webinar this evening is I'm briefly going to introduce you to Stanford and what we do. I'm then going to hand you over to Dr. Marie, who's going to take you through the program. And towards the end of the presentation, you will have the opportunity to ask Marie questions related specifically to the academics of the program, anything regarding admissions of the program. I can also assist with those questions as well. I am going to try and group the questions together because a lot of them are similar but not identical. Okay, so let's get started. Who is Stanford Global? Okay, well, Stanford was established in 1993 and we are a resource center for distance learning education. We do provide programs ranging from certificates to diplomas to bachelor's, MBAs, right through until MSc and even doctorates. So we really do have the qualifications for all your personal and your professional needs. Now, we do currently facilitate 5 UK universities, one of which is the University of Dundee, and we do assist in the application process for the Master of Education program. So the mere fact that you are here this evening means that you have been in touch with one of our experienced academic consultants. I'm now going to hand you over to Marie, and I shall be joining you towards the end of the presentation. Over to you, Marie.
Thank you very much, Helen. And thank you, as I say, for joining us tonight, and welcome to the University of Dundee and the Master of Education programme. So I'm not just the lecturer in education, primarily in terms of leadership, but I'm also the academic lead for any students who undertake the programme via Stanford Associates. So I'm here to support you. Okay, so starting off with who we are at the University of Dundee before I move on to the MEd programme. So the University of Dundee, we make a real difference here and now in the world. We encourage a cross-disciplinary exchange of thoughts, ideas and innovation through a variety of teaching methods and perspectives. We foster partnership working between students and staff, and we see this as a crucial part of our practice. And we're actively seeking ways of working together across boundaries, encouraging and supporting you to be transformative. We make time to listen to you, to help and to support you, and recognise and respect differences, actively in promoting inclusion. We nurture creativity and innovation and provide encouragement for you to improve your practice. We're a modern university working on innovative solutions to 21st century problems, and that's certainly something that we're needing in our current global situation. Okay, so why Dundee? As you can see from the listings, we are frequently placed highly in the university rankings, which we are very proud of. We have a substantial global reputation with students from over 150 countries around the world. In addition, no matter where in the world you're studying from, we promote a real sense of community, and we feel it's this that sets us apart. At Dundee, we can offer you a learning experience with one of the world's top universities. And during the course of your studies, we will offer you excellent teaching, learning, support and resources. The MEd, Master of Education programme, is a professional development programme undertaken at level 11, so that's master's level on the Scottish Qualifications Framework. And do note that although the MEd is recognised by the General Teaching Council for Scotland, it isn't a teaching qualification. As different national governments have different teaching prerequisites, you are advised to check with the relevant governing or registering body. We treat all students equally, so even though you will be studying at a difference, you still have support and access to the different support mechanisms. We are an internationally recognised postgraduate qualification with education as its focus from early years through to higher education. We offer the part-time and fast-track study, which offers some flexibility and autonomy, as well as blended learning opportunities. And we are recognised by the International Baccalaureate, or the IB, which I shall be talking about shortly. And as I say, we do offer a variety of focus from early years through to higher education via our different routes. So the MEd is a programme of study that brings together theory and practice. It encourages you to draw on your experience and align them with the literature. It enables you to question things and whether there are alternative ways where practice can be enhanced. It encourages you to strengthen your knowledge about global educational developments through offering an opportunity to critically explore different perspectives of education, all of which help you to develop or extend your confidence and enhance your professional career. As tutors, we are constantly seeing our students' practice being influenced by their learning at a master's level. This inevitably benefits not just yourselves, but the students and staff who you're working with. To obtain an MEd, you will need to complete 180 credits of study in any of the named awards that you see there on the screen. The award of Leading Learning and Teaching, highlighted in bold, is our generic award, which provides subject flexibility. However, if you require a subject specialism, you can see that we have a number of options from educational leadership to childhood studies and to speakers of the TESOL programme. To enable you to obtain those named awards, we also have optional modules, and each of the optional modules enable you to carry out the study and assignment without being in a workplace environment. So the current situation won't hold you back from completing the study or the assignments, but you must have relevant teaching experience to draw from. Each optional module is considered as a single credit module, and these are worth 30 credits. In addition, we also have core modules, so reflecting upon practice or reflecting upon leadership in the IB, along with research methods, and these are also worth 30 credits. However, the dissertation module is a double credit module that is worth 60 credits. To demonstrate how the named awards and modules link, you can see that the generic Leading Learning and Teaching Award enables you to undertake any two optional modules along with having the flexibility at dissertation stage, whereas the named awards, not highlighted in bold, do require you to take specific modules, and the dissertation must also focus on an area that's relevant to that named award. So for example, if you wish to obtain a Master of Education in Educational Leadership, then one of your optional modules must be Leadership and Organisational Development, with a free choice of second optional module, but then your dissertation must also focus on educational leadership. Okay, as I say, we do also offer international baccalaureate routes, so 3 awards here. And for these awards, once you commence your studies at Dundee, you will need to register with the IB directly, and we do provide you with guidelines of how to undertake the process. We also have staff members who will provide you with IB support. There are no additional assignments for each of the IB awards, but you will be expected to underpin your writing with IB publications. And again, we provide you with support and direction in line with that. So what you can see is 3 different awards, and depending on the award, there are different prerequisites as stated by the IB themselves. So the first award of Certificate in Leadership in Practice, anybody could opt for that award. You don't need any IB experience. For the next award, the Advanced Certificate in Leadership Research, there are 2 pathways through to obtain that award. One of those, you don't need to have IB experience, but you will have needed to have undertaken the Certificate in Leadership Practice. Or the second pathway within that, if you have 3 years teaching experience in an IB, you don't need to have the certificate level first of all. And then finally, the Advanced Certificates in Learning and Teaching Research, you can only undertake that award if you do have the 3 years teaching experience in an IB school. Okay, so just to talk through a typical route of the full MEd, and this includes the IB Advanced Teaching and Learning, and this is at the part-time, at a pace of part-time. So in the first year, you would undertake reflecting upon practice along with your first optional module. This would enable you to exit the programme if you wished, with the postgraduate certificate, because you'll have obtained your 60 credits, or as we hope, that you would continue into the diploma level in year 2, where you would undertake your second optional module plus the core of research methods, and then finally in year 3 you would be expected to undertake your dissertation, where you will then exit with an MEd at 180 credits, and it's at that point where you would be eligible for the IB Advanced Teaching and Learning Research Award. Another route through is the MEd and IB Leadership Awards. This pathway, although it is part-time, but this pathway assumes that you don't have any IB teaching experience, or you don't have the 3 years as the prerequisite states. Of course, if you do have 3 years teaching experience, you could take either pathway. You could still take this pathway if you wish. And in year 1, you start off with Leadership and Organisational Development to give you the theoretical underpinning of leadership, before moving on to reflecting upon leadership in the IB. You must take those 2 modules if you don't have any leadership IB experience or IB teaching experience. At that point, you might wish to exit with the postgraduate certificate at 60 credits, and it will provide you with eligibility for IB leadership practice. As we then hope that you will move on to year 2, the diploma level, you would then undertake your optional module, followed by the core module of research methods. And then finally, in year 3, you would undertake the dissertation, which will have a leadership and an IB focus. And that will also allow you to have eligibility for the IB Advanced Leadership Award. Okay, so I've just given you the part-time routes there, or typical part-time routes, but of course we can double up to fast-track routes. So the programme has options for fast-track or part-time study. The key difference here is that you double up the amount of work carried out in a semester for the fast-track route. So you would undertake a total of 60 credits in one semester, as opposed to the 30 credits on the part-time route. The fast-track option is a significant undertaking, and I do strongly advise you to consider whether you have the space to complete approximately 30 hours of study per week. However, if you do decide upon this option, but then feel that it's too overwhelming, we can transfer you onto the part-time route at the start of the semester. Equally, if you commence the part-time route, but perhaps your circumstances change so that you feel that you are able to double up your study, then again, we will be able to transfer you at certain points of the study onto the fast-track route. Okay, we do have optional workshops. These are not mandatory, but we do highly recommend them, and they also come highly recommended from students as well. They are a fantastic opportunity to meet with other students as well as some of the tutors. It's a space for us to start building that sense of community and building a community of learners. The induction workshop will also provide an opportunity to gain an understanding of the various mechanisms within the university's online learning platform, MEd Dundee, and how to access support such as the online library and other support such as disability services. It will also enable you to develop an understanding of critical reading, thinking and writing, which is a crucial requirement for master's level learning. Feedback is always excellent, and students find them very worthwhile and beneficial to moving forward with their studies. It does provide, and it comes through in the feedback regularly, but it provides students with a greater sense of confidence about undertaking master's level learning. These are the entry requirements onto the MEd. All routes must have an undergraduate degree, and that can be within any discipline. If your undergraduate degree wasn't taught in English, then the English language requirements is an academic IELTS of 6.5 or equivalent. We do have the workplace-based routes, so educators who are currently working in a relevant setting or wish to enhance their professional learning and improve career progression prospects can draw on their current experiences as an educator. Or alternatively, the non-workplace-based routes, we do have assessments relevant for students who are not currently in a workplace setting, within education, but do have previous work experience to draw from. So what do our students say? As I say, feedback is always highly regarded, particularly in terms of that relationship between the theory and practice and how it enhances student and your practice and those around you. It also often comes back that the support has been excellent, particularly with dedication from tutors, but all the team being really welcoming and friendly. Tuition fees, please ask your academic consultant at Stanford for a breakdown of the tuition fee and the instalment scheme. And the application deadline, although it does seem quite in the distance of 13th of October, that will crop up very quickly. So we will encourage you to put your applications in as soon as possible. Any questions? Then we are happy to take those just now. And Helen has superbly joined us at the right time.
Yes, super. Thank you very much. That was very informative. And I've actually been going through quite a few of the questions at the moment. We can group them together. Amber and Nina have actually asked the exact same question. I have been informed of the face-to-face workshops, and I fully understand that they are not mandatory. And that is great now due to the COVID situation. If the COVID situation still continues until October, my question is, the information that would have been shared at the workshop, how is that going to be delivered to the students?
Okay, we're currently going through this at the moment, so we do have a process, and this will be delivered online, and you'll have a timetable of sessions over a 2-week period. We do try and plan those sessions where we do think that the students are more likely to be able to attend beyond any work that they may need to carry out and perhaps family commitments. But if not, if you can't attend them, then all sessions will be fully recorded and made available to you. So it doesn't stop the sessions, it's just an alternative format.
Excellent. And do you have a master's in early childhood education? And that is a question from Chidi Berry, and I'm hoping that I actually pronounced that correctly.
Yes, we do. We have the Masters in Nursery and Early Years, yes.
Okay, and a question from Yusuf, which is actually quite interesting. Is there an internship program during my studies?
We don't ask you to go into any schools and obtain any experience that way for our assessments, because it is a professional development program. We would expect you either to be in school or have had that experience, a substantial amount of experience to be able to draw from. So in terms of assessments, then all the 30 credit modules are 5,000 word written assignments or equivalents. We do have some modules who request or give you the option to be able to send in a recorded presentation, for example. And for the dissertation, that is a 15,000 word assessment. So we don't need to assess anybody's practice for this Master of Education.
When will this program actually start? The actual start date, that is very important for me to know, because I need to plan and make sure that it is viable for me.
Yes, I mean, the team in Stanford, so again, do contact your academic consultant because they do have the schedule of dates. We provide a 2-week orientation period before the start of the semester. So the start of the semester is early November, and orientation period is during the end of October. So, you know, please do contact your academic consultant for those key dates.
Okay, and I do understand that this is a distance learning program and does have workshops. However, do I need to go to the university at any point during my studies?
It's not necessary for you to come to the university for study purposes, so everything is online. So the literature that you'll need to read, you'll be able to access online. Tutors you will access online, or if you attend the workshops face-to-face at the workshops. Of course, when it comes to graduation, we would love to see you in Dundee and give you a warm welcome for graduation, but that is the only time if you choose to come to Dundee.
And we do have two questions which are very similar regarding the time to dedicate to the program. We have one candidate here that says that I do have children, and you can understand how it is with the family life. And the similar question is, should I be doing a fast track? Should I be doing track, and what is your thoughts on that?
Okay, as I said in the presentation, the Fasttrack is a very intense program, and you would be expected to study approximately 30 hours per week, which is equivalent really to a full-time on-campus student. So you would, if you have a full-time job, particularly if it's a job with high-level responsibility or any responsibility, plus family at home, I really would recommend that you undertake the part-time route, because that is still a substantial undertaking, but it does mean that you do have that flexibility a little bit more, just to occasionally shall I say relax with life today? I'm not so sure, but it is less intense. Of course, the part-time at 15 hours per week compared to doubling up to 30 hours per week. So really do think carefully about a fast-track route if that's the route that you're planning. But as I mentioned in the presentation, if you do start one route and you find that that's perhaps not suiting you at that moment in time, there are times when we can transfer you over, so you're not stuck with that route.
Okay, and Mina, your question about when does the program start? Yes, there is a program that has actually started yesterday, actually. So yes, there is one in April. There are maybe one or two places available. If you want to try and start now in April, we can maybe squeeze your application in. But Marie is talking specifically now about the October intake. So when she refers to October dates, it's the next upcoming intake for this particular program. Okay, and is this program recognized across the world? I understand that there's a lot of teaching positions available in Singapore at the moment. Would this be an ideal program for me to take in order to teach in Singapore?
Absolutely, it's a master's degree which is globally recognised. As I say, we have students at the university over 150 countries around the world, and we certainly have a large number of students various countries, and I know Singapore is one of those countries who have undertaken their Master of Education to obtain work within Singapore or to support promotion within Singapore. So yes, I can categorically guarantee it's recognised around the world.
My consultant has informed me about the specializations, and quite frankly, I'm interested in two. Is there any possibility that I can take two specializations?
And sometimes it's so hard to choose, isn't it? I do understand that. It wouldn't be possible for you to obtain two different titles to your Master of Education, so you wouldn't be able to have the named award for two different awards. But you could take two different optional modules. So the one perhaps that may go to your named award, if you choose a named award, and then your second optional module can be something that would appear on your transcript, so you're not losing that because you will still have evidence for that. Or it could be that you take the more generic route, the leading, learning and teaching, so you have the two optional awards. But whichever you take, as I say, they will all be listed on your transcript, so the evidence of your undertaking of those will be there.
Okay, and Mohammed's question is, why is there no university assessor to my classroom activity?
It's because it's not a teacher education program, so we're not going to be training you how to become teachers. This is a professional development program, so we don't need to assess your practice. But what you will do is you will be reflecting on your practice, and you will be, in that reflection, you'll be referring to the literature, so you'll be identifying what do you do, how could that be better, and then what does the literature say about all of that?
I'm teaching in an IB school, and I do like this. Sorry, correction, I am not teaching in an IB school at the moment, and I do like the IB certification. Can I still obtain this?
Yes, there will be the leadership certification depending on if you don't have any experience within an IB school. Sorry, I perhaps got a little bit muddled up there. So if you don't have the 3 years teaching experience in an IB school, then you've got the opportunity to undertake the Leadership Practice Award. And then that could then give you the opportunity to move on to the Leadership Advance Award. If you do have the 3 years teaching experience, then you could undertake the Leadership Advanced Award without the previous award of the practice certificate, or you can take the Teaching and Research Award. So there's different opportunities available to you depending on the level of teaching experience that you've got with the IB.
Okay, and a follow-up question to that is, how do I actually obtain this IB certificate? Is it provided by the University of Dundee, or do I have to get in touch with IB directly?
Yeah, we don't provide the certificates at the university. That comes from the IB themselves. There is a small fee for the certificate, but saying that, we will provide you with the support to be able to register with the IB, to obtain the IB resources, and then the final point of ensuring that you do get your certificate from the IB.
Okay, and will you accept any exemptions? I do have quite a few qualifications that perhaps may be deemed as exempted.
We do accept exemptions. Of course, we will need to look at the qualifications before we can determine whether any exemption is available, or if so, how much exemption. We offer up to a maximum of 50%, so up to 90 credits of exemption. But as I say, it does depend on what the qualification is, and it needs to be equivalent to the Scottish level 11, so it needs to be equivalent to master's level.
Right. And I'd like to add on that if you are looking for exemptions, please do send learning outcomes to your academic consultant. That would actually make Marie's job a lot easier, so she can map the outcomes of the modules you have completed with the modules on this program. And in that way, she can assess it if you will be eligible for any exemptions. So do take that into consideration when you are submitting your application. If I do exit with a postgraduate certificate, how long do I have to wait so that I can come back and complete my master's?
Well, depending when that is, when you exit, when you decide to exit, maybe that you might just have to wait 1 semester before you can return, depending on when you make that decision. Sometimes you may make that decision beforehand, not exit with a postgraduate certificate, but continue your study, which we can do, so then it's seamless from the postgraduate certificate through to diploma. Or if you do decide to exit with the postgraduate certificate and you do want to break from your study for whatever reason, it could be family reasons, it could be relocation or anything like that, you do have up to 5 years to return to us to be able to continue your study. So that's 3 different options that you have available to you there.
Kate, it is very important for me that the term online distance learning is not anywhere written on my degree certificate. Can you confirm that this is so?
Yes, the certificates are exactly the same no matter where in the world you are studying, whether that's online or whether that's in Dundee on the campus. The certificates are just the same.
Okay, and Adam's question is, I do not have a bachelor degree. I've actually lost it in transit. However, I do have a master's in education. Will you be able to accept me? I also have 5 years working experience in an education facility.
If you've got a master's degree, that yes, we will accept that. If you've got evidence of that, no problem at all.
Interesting question as well from Mayo. Can I change my specialization halfway through my program if I feel that I don't enjoy it?
Yes, I mean, first of all, we hope that you will enjoy it. But of course, it's not just about enjoyment, it's about perhaps where you're going with your career aspirations as well that may change en route. It does depend on what you're changing from and to. So, for example, if you are changing from a named award where you've undertaken an optional module already or a compulsory module for that named award, we can transfer you to the generic award, no problem at all. If you have started off on the generic award and you've taken your 2 optional modules, it may be some named awards that we're unable to transfer you to. So there's a lot of, depends what you want to transfer from and to, but we'll certainly do our best to accommodate that change where possible.
Okay, and we have one final question. Can I start with the full-time route and then change part-time?
For the fast track routes, if you start on that, we can transfer you to the part-time route. That's something that we'd really ask you to come and discuss with us as soon as possible, as soon as you make that decision, so we can identify when we can transfer you over. It may be, depending on how far we are into the semester, we may have to wait until the next semester starts and vice versa. So that is discussions to have with us. But again, we do try and accommodate you where possible for those, to make those changes.
Fantastic. I've put all the questions together. So again, thank you very much everyone for attending and asking very interesting questions this evening. Thank you very much for Marie for joining us all the way from the UK. And as Marie has said, we are currently taking applications for October, and even though it seems that it's very far away, it's a very popular program, and we do encourage you to try and send your application documents as soon as possible to your academic consultant so that they can assess it and review it, and we can start processing the applications from there. Okay, again, thank you, Marie. There's any please feel free to email me. The email address is right there in front of you, or you're very welcome to also email Marie. Okay, good evening to everyone, and please do stay safe. Thank you so much.